There was no saving Chibi-Robo. I have no idea what's with Scott the Paused and his bullshit posse of subscribers just going everywhere like, oh, Chibi-Robo, Chibi-Robo. Like, oh man, Scott the Waz made a video about Chibi-Robo, so I better go on Twitter and regurgitate his talking points in order to pretend like a fucking white boy YouTuber knows more about running a video game business than Nintendo themselves. This scrawny soy boy fuck, Scott the Paused, had a perfect idea to make Chibi-Robo successful in the West. Market it more. That was his brilliant idea. Oh, you didn't put enough money into marketing. Like, just... No. You don't put money into marketing if you're not going to make it back. It's not that complicated. Like, I don't understand why. Well, I kind of do understand why. These people have no business sense, okay? Scott the Waz doesn't know shit about marketing video games. He doesn't know about developing them. He doesn't understand the process. He doesn't understand, like, why Nintendo changes IPs. Because that's another thing, too, where, like, he's acting like, oh, no, Nintendo changing the original formula. That diminished Chibi-Robo. Like, it's the same thing that Paper Mario fans do, right? Like, but Paper Mario became successful, right? Like, Sticker Star did well. Origami King is doing well. The best in the series history, I believe. And I really enjoy it. I really like both games. Scott the Paused is full of shit when he talks about things like this. You know what I mean? And it's not just like to get with games he likes, right? Like he shit on one of my favorite games, Devil's Third. That's actually one of my primary goals for this channel. I'm gonna have to put together a video talking about Devil's Third and what makes it great, and I'll be sure to do that purely out of love for the game, mind you, not out of like a sense of like I can make money off of this, but just to have it be out there and have people be aware that, like, wow, this actually was the best military third-person shooter on modern platforms. You know, it's great. It's better than Call of Duty, Titanfall, Destiny, Halo, all of that. And somehow it has a 38% on Metacritic or whatever. Unbelievable. Yeah, so this kind of goes into what I was saying about, like, people listening to YouTubers using YouTubers as a foundation to, like, sort of attack Nintendo and sort of create this narrative, this negative narrative surrounding certain franchises and IPs. Like, for example, there's nothing wrong with the way Star Fox has been handled. There's nothing wrong with the way F-Zero has been handled. There's nothing wrong with the way Pikmin has been handled. But I'm seeing a lot of people coming out, like, saying that, like, oh man, Federation Force, man, if we had supported that, Nintendo would have just made more Federation Force games, and they wouldn't have made more real Metroid games. Like, Zero killed Star Fox. Like, a bunch of, like, hyperbolic bullshit that has no real basis in reality. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much of that just doesn't make any sense. And to be fair, you kind of have to be looking to see it. Like, I actually only just stumbled across this because, like, you know, I was making fun of Scott the Waz's video anyway, because on Ziplash anyway, because it was ridiculous and he was wrong. But did he even finish it? I honestly don't remember. It was like a 40-minute long video, and I'm not even sure if he finished it, because I don't recall him bringing up, like, what you have to do to beat the final boss in that game, which is honestly the only reason it killed it for me. I didn't think it was that bad until that point. Like, anyway, I mean, that was back when I was, like, playing a lot of stuff, though. A lot of weird stuff that I didn't enjoy all that much. I'm not a fan of Ziplash either. Like, I am... Okay, so it's not about the quality of the games themselves, right? Like, because like, I hate Ziplash. well, I dislike Ziplash. Scott the Waz dislikes Ziplash. Like, we're kind of in agreement here, but it's not about like liking or disliking the game. You know what I mean? It's this weird belief that YouTubers have a better understanding of what Nintendo should do with IPs than Nintendo themselves do, even though it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's really Scott. Literally, one of Scott's talking points was like, "Oh, don't do a partnership deal at Walmart." Like, what? I just because apparently there was like a Chibi-Robo game that was like exclusive to like Walmart or whatever. Like, that's. I mean, I've seen that happen with other games. Like, I mean, Rune Factory 4 was, I think, a GameStop exclusive. Well, not a GameStop exclusive, but it wasn't at Target when I looked for it. That was back when I was trying to boycott GameStop, but couldn't do it because they didn't have all the niche games I wanted. Because they had all the niche games I wanted. But anyway, I mean, it's fascinating to me. I think Scott the Paused. He's a pretendo. He really is. He's doing the same things that YouTubers were doing 5-10 years ago with like the Wii era, with like the weird like getting angry at Nintendo for making certain decisions, the sort of like weird negative narrative that they use, the sort of like to prop up their own channels, because as you know, someone like me who vehemently defends everything Nintendo does doesn't get any views at all, while someone like Scott who shits on Nintendo all the time gets millions of views. So negativity sells. You've kind of seen this with my videos when like I talk about a big YouTuber. That's when I typically get like an explosion of views. Scott does that, but for Nintendo. But whereas I will like not do it, I won't call out YouTubers unless it's like absolutely necessary. Scott like does it all the time. It's weird how someone that I don't watch, that I don't like, who's not very funny, by the way. Scott is the least funny motherfucker I think I've ever seen in my life. What was I getting at? Oh man, I completely forgot where I was going with that one. Scott isn't funny, and that completely derailed my entire train of thought there. It's time to stop taking YouTubers seriously. Like, no, Undertale is not a good game. No, YouTubers making videos about it and getting millions of views does not make it a good game. No, there's no real reason to watch YouTubers over playing video games. Like, if you prefer to watch YouTubers over video games, you're clearly not a gamer. This really needs to be said a lot more in modern times. Honestly, I'm beginning to think this is a more severe issue than the whole mobile epidemic or PlayStation and Xbox. Like, a bunch of plebs who just regurgitate Scott and Arlo's opinions about Paper Mario and Chibi-Robo despite, like, not really understanding the grand scheme of things, like not understanding that there was a reason that Chibi-Robo wasn't popular to begin with. So, and that's the thing, though. I've been playing a lot of Baten Kaido's Origins recently, like, you know, one of my all-time favorite RPGs, right? That never got a sequel, and I've gone on record saying before that I don't necessarily need one. I'm perfectly happy with the game the way it is, and I think with people like Scott, these people who just beg for endless sequels to all these Nintendo IPs, they need to be more grateful for what they already have. It reminds me a lot of... I mean, I feel as if Luigi's Mansion, right? The sequel's kind of deviated from that. You have like this very niche group of people who sort of like rail on Dark Moon and Luigi's Mansion 3 for not being as good as the original, the bit blocks of the world. You have people like that, right? And on one hand, yeah, I mean, I can kind of see where they're coming from with like the ghosts and like the visual effects and the different personality and tone and stuff like that. But on the other, Well, no, you're still getting good new Luigi's Mansion games. Like, you don't want it to be the exact same thing over and over and over again. It's remarkable to me. People like Scott, the people who rail on certain Nintendo IPs for being too different, are the same kind of people who rail on games like New Super Mario Bros. Or Zelda for being too similar to one another. Like, it's laughable. It's ridiculous. If you really take into consideration as to what they're saying, what they believe, their opinions on games, you just can't really take it seriously. Like if you know, if you've played as much games as I have, these people are not to be taken seriously. If you don't like Chibi-Robo Zaplash, you didn't have to buy and play it. That's really all you had to do. And so what if Nintendo doesn't make a sequel? You still have that original game that you can play and enjoy for as long as you like.